Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Okay, I just need to download the accessibility report. All right.
List with 3 items.
So
Level 1.
Let's
List
go
item,
with
departments.
departments.
List with 5 items. Level 2.
Nice. Okay,
List item, digital.
digital team.
List with 7 items. Level 3.
Uh-huh.
List item, engineering. List with 4 items. Level 4. List item,
wait.
research.
Are we
List with 3 items.
engineering?
Level 5.
Or did I just...
List item, evaluation. List with 2 items. Level 6.
This list
item,
has more
Goblin team.
levels than...
List with 1 item. Level 7.
Yep, that's it. I'm out. Welcome back to Web Accessibility for All, a podcast where we dive deep into the practical side of digital accessibility, share real-world stories, and unpack what inclusive design actually means. I am Ariel, your host, software engineer, web accessibility specialist, and screen reader user. Today's episode is about why to stop relying on deep nesting to organize content, and what better, more usable patterns look like instead. We'll talk about the cognitive load of multi-level menus, the gap between visual design and semantic HTML, and I'll share some alternatives that work better for everyone. Let's get into it.
The problem with nesting.
Don't get me wrong, my friend. Nesting isn't bad in itself. In fact, it's how we organize the world. Categories, subcategories, folders inside folders, and on paper or in Figma, it feels neat, even elegant. A clean little tree of logic. But in practice, it can become a trap. Especially on the web, deeply nested structures often backfire. They can become hard to navigate, hard to understand, and even harder to maintain. Let's take a common case. You've got a list of product categories. Each category has subcategories. Then each subcategory has items. Maybe each item has actions. So you nest a list inside a list inside a list. Sounds logical, right? But here's what happens.
Visually,
It starts to look like a wall of indents.
on mobile,
It collapses into a tab fest of accordions.
for keyboard users,
It becomes a marathon of tabbing.
and for screen reader users like you, Ariel,
Well, it becomes a mystery box.
The hidden cost of nesting.
The problem isn't just the depth, it's that deep nesting assumes users know the path, the hierarchy, that they understand your internal logic, that they'll patiently unfold each level in the right order. But that's not how people use the web. People skim, they jump around, they look for clues, headings, keywords, buttons, and nesting hides all of that inside layers. The moment your interface starts asking people to remember what they saw 3 levels ago, you've stopped helping. You've started testing them.
The screen reader perspective.
As a screen reader user myself, I don't get the luxury of scanning the whole page visually. I can't glance at a tree of categories and say, there's the thing I'm looking for. No. I have to walk the structure one step after the other.
List with 3 items. Level 1. List item, products. List with 3 items. Level 1.
No.
List item, products. List with 4 items. Level 2.
Another
List item,
list?
electronics. List with 6
Come
items.
on.
Level 3. List item, headphones. List with 5 items.
Oh my.
Level 4. List item, wireless. List with 3 items. Level 5.
It's mentally exhausting. Not just physically slow, cognitively draining. Because while I'm navigating, I have to keep the entire structure in my head. What level I'm in. What I've already opened. What the parent was. What the siblings were. If users have to mentally remember the context just to stay oriented, that's a memory game.
An interface problem that hurts everyone.
Now, sure, screen readers expose this problem more obviously, but the problem isn't a screen reader problem. Consider people using zoom tools or screen magnifiers. They deal with a different version of the same struggle. When you zoom in at 300%, you only see a small part of the screen. So if you open a nested item on the left and the sub-items appear off-screen to the right or below, you don't even know something changed. You have to scroll around and remember where you were. And if you are navigating with a keyboard, you arrow down, hit enter to open a nested item, and boom! Focus may jump or not move at all.
Wait, did I just open a thing? Did the submenu load? Where did the focus go? Am I still in the same group?
Keyboard and screen magnifier users also rely on a spatial memory. And when your site changes context without clear feedback, or when the structure is so deep that you can't hold it on in working memory, people get stuck, people get tired, and people leave. This is especially true for users with cognitive disabilities or executive functioning challenges. And let's not forget users with motor impairments. More nested items often means more precise movement, whether it's mouse, touch, or eye tracking.
Nesting isn't a design solution if it hides meaning.
Okay, so we've laid out a problem. Nesting gets out of hand. It confuses users. It's a nightmare for assistive tech. So what's the alternative?
What can we do instead?
First, flatten the structure whenever possible.
Don't force users to drill down 7 levels to find what they want. Instead, break your content into smaller, meaningful chunks that are easy to scan.
Next, use progressive disclosure carefully.
Show only what's necessary. Use accordions or expandable sections that are keyboard accessible, announced properly by screen readers, and manage focus correctly.
Official guidelines.
Nesting itself is not inherently bad. The W3C's WCAG recognizes that hierarchical structures are often necessary to organize complex content. This ties back to WCAG 1.3.1, Info and Relationships, which reminds us
Semantic structure must be programmatically clear.
the way ARIA, Authoring Practices Guide, offers specific examples on how to build accessible tree views and nested lists. including keyboard support, focus management, and roles to help Assistive Tech understand the structure.
Best practices.
Using semantic HTML.
It's crucial for conveying a clear structure. Don't rely solely on indentation or CSS to organize your content.
Supporting keyboard navigation.
Keyboard navigation should be a priority, as it's essential for accessibility. The Way Area tree pattern is a great reference for this. Implement features like using arrow keys to move between items, enter or space to expand or collapse sections, and home and end keys for quick jumps.
Using ARIA roles and properties.
Carefully use ARIA roles and properties to provide extra information that enhances understanding for assistive technology.
Managing focus.
Focus management should be crystal clear. When a nested section opens, make sure the focus moves logically. This ensures users are always aware of their current position and context within the list.
Providing visible indicators.
Provide clear visual cues, like arrows, plus and minus signs, to show when something is expanded or collapsed. And don't forget the hidden cues too, like ARIA expanded so screen readers stay in the loop.
Using heading hierarchy.
Use headings to complement your nested lists. Headings provide landmarks and help to chunk content into meaningful, digestible sections, making it easier for users to scan and understand the page structure.
Design for meaning, not just visual hierarchy.
Nesting isn't evil. Structure isn't bad. In fact, users like me rely on structure. But when structure becomes a puzzle, when it demands memory or perfect orientation, then it's no longer helping. It's getting in the way. So flatten, chunk, guide, and disclose smartly. Because good design doesn't hide content in layers. It brings it forward in clear, meaningful ways. Because building accessible experiences is about reducing friction. It's about supporting memory. And it's about making sure that what's supposed to be helpful actually is. Thanks so much for listening to Web Accessibility for All. Until next time, design with care and keep making the web work for everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.